Well, I'm in print on this already. That have done some articles on charismatic leadership,
right?
And I've studied people that have gone from poverty to being the ruler of their own country. People like Lincoln or Washington or Mandela, and I've studied horrible people like Stalin and
right.
Hitler. And one of the things that rang true for me as I studied these guys, the ones who were charismatic, is that they were very sincere in their beliefs.
Right.
Even Hitler, he's in his bunker. He knows he's going to die. He's filling out his last will and testament, and his will is filled with hatred for the Jews. And my sense is that I don't think they put you in charge of a country with 3 million people if you're not sincere about your core values. So theoretically, I'm on the side that these guys don't rise to the top by being insincere. Joseph Stalin really did hate religion and really did believe in socialism.
Right.
And to have that kind of power, it's not just one guy. It's usually a team of people that are connected by a strong core belief. So my take on Barack Obama is that most likely he was what we would call a red diaper baby. That it was very unusual for a sophomore to be as radical as the young Barack Obama. So my sense, and I've also read Abomination, I didn't realize how Marxist he was before he came to Occidental College until I read that book.
Right, yeah, and we've talked about some of those things, especially some of the things written by Trevor Loudon on his blog, the New Zealand blog, and Trevor's been on the show a number of times.
Let me give you my intuition on
this.
My intuition, based on what I've seen of Obama and my personal experience with him, is that he felt the way I did, that if you have that John Rawls mindset that income inequality is unfair, you would feel a stab of guilt and a pained conscience if you weren't taking action to equalize results. And so I'm on the side that says he's not joking when he says he'd rather be a good one-term president. I believe he's telling the honest truth from his perspective.
When you now, I know that on a practical level, Obama would realize that if I am the progressive prophet here, that he doesn't do the overall progressive cause any good if he totally tanks his presidency. It's going to and the Democratic Party, right? So there will be in the same sense that you couldn't run a candidate, and I'm sure Alice Palmer and Bill Ayers never envisioned a day where you would have a guy get up and say, "Hi, I'm your neighborhood communist. Elect me president." If you really were trying to advance those ideas in America, you would have to do it in the new progressive clothes. You dress. It's like as I said on our show yesterday. It's like you get rid of the whole dreadlocks and hacky sack kind of image of the 70s hippie. Let's now make this something that is aggressive and palatable to the American people. So you wouldn't declare it that way, and I would think that he would have a hesitance to totally derail things in blind commitment, but that they would be continuing to try and nudge and move and make things more and more acceptable to the point, like you said, that many Democrats have a very favorable impression of socialism. So this is all, I'm chattering here, but it's coming up to my point on this, which is, when you see the kinds of people then that Barack Obama has put in his administration, some of whom have called themselves communists or Marxists, and with that range of influence around him, some people that are then critical of that or pointed out, whether it's on this show or Beck's show or whatever else, we're kind of, it's like you can be tagged with sort of like a McCarthyite kind of brush, that it's just like, oh, you're just out there sort of commie hunting. Maybe address that from the perspective of someone like yourself who was a committed Marxist. How it's like Obama's one thing. How concerned should we be about the infrastructure, the people around him, and what they're doing? Maybe under the surface that we're not seeing.
Okay. Well, I think I'm actually in an unusual position to report on that. It's almost like you're debriefing a guy who's is coming off the enemy's side right
Right.
now. But I think what I can do is an objective political scientist is I can say a couple things right now that I think will help pull together the evidence that most people are already aware of. But what I can do is I can put that in a pattern now that makes more sense.
Sure.
And from the perspective of a young Marxist, you know it's going to be a difficult struggle. You know a revolution is coming. So one of the top careers for Marxists coming out of Occidental College was to become a labor union organizer or a community organizer. And I think what most people don't understand, Sarah Palin was joking about Obama being a community organizer, but that, from the perspective of the Marxist at Occidental College, that was the logical career step for a revolutionary. That was one of the few jobs that you could take where you could earn a living and maintain your conscience. The next step was to become a college professor, which in a sense that's exactly what I did. I didn't really see any other good career options that would leave my conscience clear when I was a young man. So I went to Cornell on a scholarship, and
Right.
I became a professor, and so seeing Barack Obama's career go from...
Let me interrupt you for 1 second, because this is a mini question that keeps escaping my mind, and it could fit right in this juncture, and then because I want to get the sweep of your narrative. You mentioned when you met Obama at Occidental that he was the tall, charismatic, guy around campus. Do you have any theory about why his Columbia years seem to be so hazy, and that there have been many reports of people saying that when they talk to people that were there, that nobody seems to remember him. Does that seem to... Do you have any thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah, I should write an article about it. One of the ironies of charismatic leadership is that a person can be charismatic in one venue, and then you move them to another country or another state, and they're no longer charismatic. And the secret is the support group that's around them. When Barack Obama was a young man at Occidental College his sophomore year, he had a very wealthy patron in Hasan Chandoo. They had just a wonderful big house where they threw lavish parties. Chandoo was throwing the money around. Obama was dressed in the nicest, slickest clothes. When I first met Obama and Chandoo, I swear to you, I thought they were both gay, and I thought they were both wealthy.
Yeah, right.
So he was able to create an incredibly positive image, and what happened is Chandoo graduated that year, and I think this is my take, and I'm doing this on the basis of understanding charismatic leaders a little, is what happened is when Obama knew that Chandoo was going to leave Occidental College, he knew that the money supply was gone, the big house was gone, the parties were gone, and he thought it was better for him to get the heck out of there and go to Columbia. And because Chandoo wasn't financing his lifestyle anymore, I don't believe Obama was ever able to create that same charismatic presence on the Columbia campus. So I was going to write a book. It's called Barack Obama: Why He Liked Bigger and Bigger Houses.
Well, and Chandoo was he traveled with him back to see his family, didn't he?
He met Chandoo's family in Pakistan.
Right.
And Chandoo was at Obama's wedding,
right.
And he's still in touch with him. In fact, that came out that he was at that Ramadan dinner, I guess, a couple of months ago at the White House. But that's also typical of charismatic leaders. They hold their, high school, elementary school friends close to their hearts their whole lives.